When I first moved to Thailand, I was one of those guys who thought I had it all figured out, fresh off the plane, full of confidence, ready to start this new chapter. And like a lot of newcomers, I ended up making some classic mistakes that I look back on now and just shake my head. One of those mistakes was dating a massage girl in Pattaya. Her name was Prewa. Yeah, like the actress. She always made that joke. Beautiful girl, smart, funny, and for about 4 months, I thought we had something real. But that relationship taught me more about myself and about Thailand than I was ready to learn at the time. If you're thinking about dating a massage girl in Thailand, bro, you need to hear this story because what I learned might save you from making the same mistakes I did when I was still figuring out how this place really works. Look, I'm not here to bash massage girls. Prewa was, hell, probably still is, a good person trying to make a living in a tough situation. But there's this whole psychological minefield that comes with dating someone in that industry that nobody warns you about. And I've watched enough guys get their hearts broken and bank accounts drained because they walked into it blind. If you've ever caught feelings for someone whose job involves being, let's say, professionally intimate with strangers, you know that weird knot in your stomach I'm talking about. That constant question, am I special or am I just another customer who got the premium package? The thing is, most guys who end up in these situations aren't looking for it. We're not the sex tourists hitting up the obvious spots. We're the ones who stumble into something that feels genuine. And by the time we realize we're in over our heads, we're already emotionally invested. I met Prewa at this place on Soi Buakau during my first month in Pattaya. Not one of the sketchy joints, but one of those mid-tier massage shops that does actual therapeutic massage during the day. I'd been going there for legit back problems from hunching over a laptop in whatever cheap condo I'd rented when I first arrived. She wasn't like the other girls there, didn't immediately start the whole where you from, how long you stay routine. Actually seemed focused on doing good massage work. Her English was different too, not the basic tourist phrases, but like she'd actually studied it. Turned out she had 2 years at some community college in Chonburi before her family ran out of money. After about the third session, she asks if I want to grab coffee sometime, not during work hours, not at the shop, just regular coffee, as regular people. And I'm thinking, okay, this is different. Maybe she actually likes me as a person. But there was one detail I should have paid attention to from day one, something that would have saved me months of confusion. I just didn't know what I was looking at yet. For the first month, it felt like I'd found something rare. Remember, I was still new to Thailand, still had that naive optimism that every expat has in their first few months. Prewa was smart, funny, had these random interests you wouldn't expect. She was teaching herself photography with this beat-up camera, wanted to document real Pattaya life. We'd meet for coffee after her shifts, walk around the non-touristy parts of town. She'd show me these little family restaurants tucked away in alleys I never would have found on my own. As a newbie to Thailand, I felt like I was getting this insider access to the real country. And the physical stuff, man, it was different from anything I'd experienced. She had this way of reading tension in your body that wasn't just professional skill, it felt like she genuinely cared about making you feel better. But here's what I didn't understand then, and this is classic newbie expat thinking. I couldn't tell where her professional training ended and her personal feelings began. That confusion was about to become a much bigger problem than I realized. About 6 weeks in, things started getting weird in ways I couldn't quite put my finger on. Prewa would get these text messages during our dates that she'd respond to immediately. When I'd ask who it was, she'd say, work stuff, and change the subject. But what kind of work stuff happens at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday? Then there was her schedule. Some days she'd work until 6 p.m., other days until midnight. Some days she'd have only 2 customers, other days she'd be booked solid. But the math never quite added up. How does a legitimate massage therapist make enough money to support herself and send money home to her family working those kinds of hours? The first real red flag was when she started asking for help with small things. Her motorbike needed new brakes. Could I loan her 3,000 baht until her next paycheck? Each time, she was genuinely grateful, promised to pay me back, and actually did pay back about half. But here's the thing, I never asked her to pay me back. I wanted to help. She was working hard, supporting her family, and I had more money than she did. It felt like what a boyfriend should do. But somewhere in the back of my mind, this voice was asking, would she need my help if she was just doing regular massage therapy? I kept telling myself I was different, that we had something special. Yeah, turns out every guy paying for premium treatment thinks he's the exception too. The psychological trap was that I started feeling responsible for her financial stability. Not because she demanded it, but because I could see she was struggling and I cared about her. You tell yourself you're being a good partner, but really you're becoming a financial crutch. And then there was the jealousy, not normal relationship jealousy, this weird specific anxiety about her work. Every time she came home from a late shift, I'd catch myself analyzing her mood like some discount Sherlock Holmes. Was she tired from legitimate massage work, or was there something else? When she'd shower immediately after getting home, was that normal after a physical job, or was she washing something off? The moment everything started unraveling was completely random. I was walking past her shop one afternoon when she wasn't working, and I saw her colleague, another masseuse who worked there. She recognized me and started talking, assuming I knew more about Prewa's situation than I actually did. She mentioned how Prewa was smart to have found a good sponsor who was helping her save money to eventually stop working at the shop. Sponsor, not boyfriend, sponsor, like I was a business arrangement, not a relationship. When I asked what she meant, she got this confused look and said something like, "Oh, maybe I misunderstood. But isn't that why she's with you?" Not mean-spirited, just genuinely confused about why else a massage girl would be dating a foreign customer. Just casual destruction of my entire worldview on a Tuesday afternoon. That conversation messed with my head for weeks. I started paying attention to things I'd been ignoring, like how Prewa never wanted to hang out anywhere near her workplace, how she had 2 phones but only ever used one around me, how she knew way more about managing foreign men's expectations than someone should if she was just doing therapeutic massage. Looking back now, I can see all the signs I was ignoring, but when you're fresh in Thailand, everything feels new and exciting. You want to believe you found something special because admitting you're just another customer would mean admitting you're not as special as you thought you were. But it did matter, not because I was judging her choices. I wasn't, but because I was trying to build a genuine relationship on top of a professional service relationship. And those two things don't mix, no matter how much you want them to. What happened next would prove that point more brutally than I was ready for. The end came in the most mundane way possible. Prewa asked me to pick her up from work one evening because her motorbike was getting repaired. I got there about 20 minutes early and decided to wait outside instead of going in. I watched her finish up with a customer. Older German guy, probably in his 60s, and I watched her give him the same goodbye routine she gave me, same warm smile, same little touch on the arm, same "take care of yourself" in that sweet voice she used. The only difference was he handed her some cash before leaving. That's when it hit me. I wasn't watching my girlfriend at work. I was watching a professional performing the girlfriend experience for different customers. The only difference between me and that German guy was that I was getting the extended package. Dinner dates, sleepovers, the full relationship simulation. When she got in my car, she was the same sweet Prewa I'd fallen for. Asked about my day, told me she'd missed me, all the things that made me feel special. But now I could see the performance aspect of it. Not that her feelings were fake, but that she'd learned to package her genuine emotions in a way that made customers feel special. The conversation we had that night was the hardest one I've ever had in a relationship. I asked her directly what I was to her, not accusingly, just honestly, and her answer was devastatingly honest. "I like you more than other customers, but customers help me survive." She wasn't trying to hurt me. She was being as truthful as she could be about her reality. She did care about me, but caring about someone and being in a relationship with them are 2 different things when one person is essentially paying for the other's emotional labor. Breaking up with Prewa messed with my head in ways I didn't expect. It wasn't just losing someone I cared about, it was questioning every moment we'd shared. Had any of it been real? When she laughed at my jokes, was she genuinely amused or professionally accommodating? When she initiated physical affection, was that her feeling or her training? The worst part was how it affected my ability to trust my own judgment in future relationships. I started analyzing every woman's behavior like I was looking for the con. Real girlfriends would be affectionate, and I'd catch myself wondering if they were performing. It took months to get out of that headspace, and here's something nobody talks about. When you've been with someone who's professionally good at emotional and physical intimacy, regular relationships can feel amateur. Prewa knew exactly how to make me feel desired and appreciated because she'd learned those skills. Normal women who haven't been trained in customer service don't always know how to do that instinctively. It creates this toxic comparison where you're measuring authentic emotion against professional performance. And professional performance usually wins in terms of consistency and skill, even if it lacks genuine feeling. Look, I don't regret the time I spent with Prewa. She taught me things about myself and about relationships that I needed to learn. And I don't judge her for the choices she made. She was supporting her family in a country where economic opportunities for women can be limited. But I learned you can't build something real on a foundation of financial dependency and professional emotional labor. Even if both people develop genuine feelings, the underlying structure of the relationship is still transactional. If you're thinking about dating someone in the massage industry, just be honest about what you both want and what you're both getting out of it. But if you're looking for love, real, messy, unprofessional love, find someone who doesn't have to perform affection for a living. Seeing Priwa wave at me last week brought back a lot of memories, but no regret. She's living her life, I'm living mine. But I'm not walking back into that psychological minefield again. There are amazing women in Thailand who can give you their full attention without you wondering if you should be paying by the hour for it. Thanks for listening to my story, man. If you've been through something similar, drop a comment. Sometimes just knowing you're not the only one who's been confused by this stuff helps. And thank you for liking and subscribing. See you on the next one. Peace.